Hello and welcome to week number 5 of the How to Sell Online eBay training course, week number 5 of 8. And this week we are devoting the session to postage and packaging. There is an awful lot that you need to know about postage and packaging. There's an awful lot that you need to get correct when you're getting your stuff sent out to your customers. Anyway, I thought I would start off today with a brilliant little video of how people get their deliveries. I just thought this was rather good. You may or may not have come across this video, you may or may not have seen this, but Yodel, which is one of the bigger delivery agents in the UK, like to think they do an extremely good job. i.e., you have a set of electric gates, we'll just pop your parcel over the gate. I will fill out my little tablet to say that I've delivered it, and guess what? You're going to receive a little card off me in a moment in your letterbox to say that I've left it outside over the gate for you. Now it's funny because I had this about 4 or 5 years ago. I had a box delivered to my property. We were not in. They threw it over the wall, and it was an extremely bad weather day, and the boxes were ruined, and there were 2 pairs of shoes that I'd ordered in the boxes. I called the company up, sent them the relevant photographs, and had to have a new pair, but what a cost to the company. So that is not the way to do it as far as I'm concerned. That is bad. Pretty poor going. So let's come out of that. But I just wanted to start off the proceedings tonight with that. But of course now we've got the fun bit, and I love this one as well. This is going to be Amazon's new way of delivering for you. So I think this is really, really cool, and it would be really nice if this actually took off. So there you go, 30-minute delivery straight from Amazon out to the customer. A couple of lovely shots of the Amazon warehouse there, which is worth noting if you're thinking of fulfillment on your parcels. There we go, Amazon Prime Air. What a way to get your parcel delivered. I think it's absolutely excellent personally. And you can see these videos on YouTube. Now it's interesting that when Amazon were having a bit of bad press just before Christmas, based upon the fact that they were going to have some delivery issues, and there was that program about Amazon showing how people were working in their warehouses under some quite rigid time pressures, and it was, if I remember right, it was a BBC program, that Amazon came out with that little ditty, as it were, to show how they were going to be delivering going forward. But I just thought that was absolutely lovely way of starting things off so that you could actually see where we could be going later on. So let's get to the real side of it. What I want to do first of all is give you some ideas where you can actually start looking for postage. Now, one of the issues you got with postage is obviously you've got to get it right from the customer's point of view. So when you first of all list your items, when you list your products, what you want to be doing is ensuring that you have the correct pricing in place for the products. So you might want to just make a note of some of these here. Obviously, Royal Mail, they do something called the Price Finder. Whether it's UK, overseas, or HM Forces, you can go online and you can decide what it is you're going to fit it in. Now, obviously, you've got letter, large letter, small parcel. Click on the little information button and it will tell you what they consider to be a small parcel. Now, the sizes that they're giving you here, those sizes are the packaged dimensions. Now, I do know a number of people will go away and say, oh, that's how big my item is, so I will just add a centimetre this way, a centimetre that way. They forget about the packaging and they forget about how a box will bulk out. So whenever you're looking to make sure you're sending a parcel out, make sure you've got the dimensions correctly, and we'll come back to that in a moment or two, so that you've got the correct dimensions at all times. But here you've got quite a lot of information from Royal Mail. So let's say we've got a medium parcel, and I'm going to say it's 800 grams just for the fun of it, and we can go next, and then it'll give us some options. So we can go here, and again, next day, within 2 to 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, 30 days, etc. Now, bear in mind with Royal Mail, in their terms and conditions, they do not consider a parcel to be lost until 15 days have lapsed. So 15 days, then Royal Mail will consider it lost. Then you can put a claim in to get any postage refunded back to yourself. If you sent it by some form of assured delivery, you may also be able to claim for the item. But if ever you've got a claim on Royal Mail or any of the parcel companies, there's a couple of things you've got to remember. First of all, you are only going to be able to claim back the cost price of the item. You're not going to be able to claim back anything else. It's purely the cost price, and you have got to prove that cost price by providing them with a photocopy of the purchase invoice. If it's a second-hand item, then you will have a bit of a battle with them on what is the perceived value. And they have tables and ways and means of working out what that value is. We go there and we'll go value of the item, say it's £100, and let's say we want delivery confirmation. So now we can go in and we can find a price. So there we go, you've got all your prices here, £9.99 plus VAT, £34.57 if you want it guaranteed before 9 AM next day. So you've got the full range here of prices. So £9.99 plus VAT, one to remember. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill out a spreadsheet here with that, £9.99 plus VAT. I'll come back to that spreadsheet in a minute when we've looked at a couple of others. So that will give you an instant idea of how much it's going to be to send that packet. So many people, when they start out with the business, forget to add that cost in. Now, there's another element to that cost, which we will come on to in a little while as well, that you have to always remember. And another one, now this particular company here, I use this company when I'm sending anything to perhaps the Southern Hemisphere or the United States, Canada, places like that. This is a good company for international postage, Fastlane International. I've used them pretty regularly over the years. Sorry, that's Collection Country. By the way, with this company, you could be buying product from another company and having it brought in. Just remember that as well. That's quite a good tip, actually. If you've got international stuff coming in, then you can have your stuff picked up by them and brought to you. So if you've got a deal on the go, not a problem. You can get that brought to you. And then package, we will have one. Let's have the weight at 5 kilos. We'll put the length in as 100. No, we won't go 150 centimeters. That's too big. Let's go 40 centimeters, 40 centimeters, and 30 centimeters. Okay, we should be able to get a quote for that. And there we go. You see, we've got the quote. So Fastlane International doing it themselves. That will probably be with UPS, in all fairness. What you'll find in some of these, what we call white labeled ones, they will be somebody like UPS that they have got an agreement with to white label it, and it is slightly lower than their published price. So Parcel Force, again, Fastlane. So you've got DHL, Fastlane. I would imagine those two are probably about the same. I wouldn't be surprised if that was Fastlane and TNT. So you can go in here, and if you're targeting America or if you're targeting Australia, you can go in here and you can get some good ideas on your pricing. Now, bear in mind, different countries will have a different pricing policy. So you can't just go and say, well, I'll do America and that is it, I'll charge the same for Australia, because that won't work. And I'll give you an example here. Let's go here and we'll do the same postcode and let's go to Australia. Okay, and we've got 5 kilos. We've got 40, 40, 35, and it's a parcel. And there you go. Can you see the difference? 106, whereas before we had a 50 odd pound rate, now we're up to well over the £100 mark. What you've got to remember is they do a calculation, and it's called a volumetric calculation. Now, the interesting thing is that parcel volumetric calculations are different from company to company. Okay, calculating volumetric weight of parcels. So what happens is they will do a measurement and they will do a multiplication. So you can go to somebody like this, online calculators, and you can work out the volumetric weight of the parcel. So that might be just as useful for you. So it is a calculation, the width times the length times the height, and then they will divide it. Now, Parcel Force used to divide it by 4,000, DHL by 5,000, UK Mail by 4,500. And that volumetric calculation is what they go on. And it's either the volumetric weight in kilograms or the physical weight, whichever is the greater on the scale. So let's just go in and do one here for you. So 40, 40, okay, and we've done that in centimetres. Oh, I've put 0.30. Okay, so that's coming out at 0.8 kilograms. Ah, that's because that's 0.4 as well. Let's do this right. It started off with 0. So I went with it. There we go, that's better. So that 5 kilo box actually has a volumetric weight of 8 kilograms. Okay, and that one is with a division of 6,000. But again, you've got to look and see which companies do what, as it were. So if you were to look at that from the point of view of 40, 40, 30, and if I divide that by 4,500, that gives me 10.67 kilograms. So you can see that the way these companies work it is they want to get the best price. So they're going to charge you on the volumetric weight. Can't get that one over enough to you, clear enough. So many people will go and weigh a parcel, and especially for international, and say, right, that parcel's 5 kilograms. We'll have a look at the weight of that on this price table. Oh, it's £55, brilliant. And you find you've sold it, all the rest of it, and all of a sudden you've got £120 or whatever it may be. So you do need to really look hard at what you're going to actually put the package price of the parcel on. Postage internationally isn't cheap. Of course, when you've got items that are going out to places like the United States, then at least you haven't got to add in VAT, because there is no VAT because of the country destination. When it's going into Europe, then obviously you've got to add the VAT in as well. Now, most carriers for Europe, if you're big enough from a business point of view and you're dealing direct with a courier, like we deal direct with Parcel Force, we have set prices up to 30 kilos. But most of the time, when you're starting out, you'll be using people like Fastlane International, where they will be quoting you on a per item basis. So at the very beginning, when you're listing your product, you need to understand the numbers and get some data so that you can go forward and you can put prices in there that are correct. The next one here is a company called World Parcel Services. We use these occasionally, and from our point of view, they are very good for European mainland road deliveries. So not the whole of the EU, but the main European countries, we found there to be good on price. Now, what I would always suggest to you when you first start looking is you use all of these people. So people like World Parcel Services, Parcel to Go, Parcel to Ship, they operate on the basis that they are, if you like, a broker of their services. So they will have a deal with DHL and the other one will have a different deal with DHL. One might be running a promotion with UPS and the other one might be running a promotion with FedEx. So you always want to cross-check the prices because they do vary. This company used to be great in sending things to Spain, and then one of the other companies came in and they were better priced on Spain. So you need to look at these companies, and when you put your data in for your parcels, you need to actually compare them. And over a period of time, you'll get to know which ones are normally good on one against the other. And then after a period of time, what will happen is you'll do a tweak and you'll say, ooh, they've obviously got a better deal now on this particular one, so I need to go to those. So World Parcel Services, they've been absolutely excellent for our European trade when we've used those, and a little bit of international, but mainly European, and not been brilliant on UK pricing, in all fairness. They've been a little bit out on that. So that's World Parcel Services for you. And then, of course, you've got One Parcel to Ship. For the UK mainland, this is our number 2 choice for anything that we would be using with them. And this is our number 2 choice when we're talking to clients who need to use these types of services. They are good, but they're not always the most competitive. They can sometimes be a little bit more expensive than one or two of the others. So you need to bear that one in mind as well. Now, what I'm going to do is bring in our favored company. It's the one that we would use more often than not for UK shipments if we hadn't got our own distribution system set up. And this is parcel2go.com. This is their new website as well, and they are quite a good company to deal with. The one thing I will say is if things go wrong, none of them are brilliant at telephone customer service. You can do email customer service with them and you can make contact with them that way. None of them are really brilliant on telephone customer service. Now, the reason Parcel2Go have done so well in the UK is really because the fact that the volume that they put through the couriers, and the guys that run the business and started the business have done extremely well in getting things moving forward. So here, as you can see, parcel2go.com, you can send small parcels, big parcels, and they have lots of carriers, and they're one of the ones that can link into your eBay account. So we'll come on to that in a little while, but that basically means that when you sell a parcel on eBay, you don't have to come out of eBay if you don't want to. You can go through the links and you can book your parcel through a courier like parcel2go.com within eBay, and eBay will tie the whole deal up for you. But please remember, eBay are getting a fee for doing so. So they are part of the food chain and they will be getting a fee. They're not getting a fee from you, they're getting a fee from the value of the account. So they're getting a fee from the charge on the postage. Now, it only may be pence, but you still need to be aware that they are affiliated in this way and they're making money. Now, there's another trick here for you, talking of affiliation, is if you go down to the bottom of most of these companies, you will be able to find an affiliate link, unless they've taken, this is their brand new site, so I haven't actually looked at this part of it down here. Okay, they haven't actually put their affiliate link back in, or they may have actually come away from it completely. But what you can do if you're really clever and you're only making a small amount of money is you can go to these companies, become an affiliate of them, and then if you become an affiliate for them through a different email address and in theory by using a link on a different website to the one you're trading on, if you have a website, that actually means then that every time you have a parcel to send, you will go in through your affiliate link to actually send it, and every time you make a transaction, you will get a small amount of money back. So it might only be 20-30 pence a parcel, but if you're doing a lot of parcels, then those 20 or 30 pences add up. So you can either use those as discount, or you can just have it as a little bit of money that comes in. So some people go down the route of creating an affiliate link with these companies. I've done it with this particular company, and it doesn't make a vast amount of money, but you know, it's a small amount towards the cost, and I can point other people to use that affiliate link. So if I'm talking to somebody else, or if I've got a friend or an acquaintance that wants to use it, I can send them my affiliate link, and they can go in, they can send their parcel, price it all up, and I'll get a very small amount of money back. Because bearing in mind, on these, we're normally only talking small amounts of money, so it is only pennies that you're getting. But that is something for you to think about. So the easiest way to do that is go to their sitemap and look for their affiliate link, or go directly to their customer services, ask them for the affiliate link, and they will send that through to you. So you can see the types of people they use. They're using some reasonable companies. Some of them may be new names to you, but they're all different, fairly large companies and offshoots of some of the main guys. So again, linking these to your Amazon and eBay account, or you can upload spreadsheets, is a really, really good opportunity of working with somebody like that. So there you are, the eBay bulk shipping tool, and they just go through the whole thing with you. You link your eBay account, the money comes out of PayPal, you get, in theory, a small discount for doing so. eBay get a little bit of a kickback, and you've also automatically worked out some of your postage costs. So it is a great tool, and I would certainly recommend that you look at Parcel2Go for your UK mainland deliveries. You can link them into Amazon, same scenario again, link all your accounts there, and away to go. And obviously, if you're working on a CSV spreadsheet, because you're bringing Amazon and eBay ones together, you're not linking those accounts, but you're sending it straight up, then that is also absolutely fine. You can do that. So this is possibly, for the independent side of things, this is possibly one of the better companies to work with in the UK market. Now then, something that I would recommend that everybody does is to actually look at their costs for the postage. Now, what I would do is, when you're starting to put items onto your systems, that you have some form of spreadsheet. Now, if you're uploading to Amazon, or if you're using the eBay, one of the eBay tools to actually upload your documents like Turbo Lister, you'll be able to do this fairly straightforwardly and use some of these columns. So what I'm going to do is just going to sort of go through a very quick example. Let's say we've got an item, and I'm just going to call it big box. Simple as that. Okay, so that might be my SKU. So it's big box of tricks. Okay, and my barcode, which we've already talked about barcodes, and product type, well, let's say it's toys. I might have it as a brand. It's ABC brand. Okay, where's my supplier or my manufacturer? So let's say I'm buying this directly from China. I might have my description, which would go into the actual listing box itself. Let's say I've got a quantity of 50 that I've purchased. I've got my purchase price, which is, let's say, £20. My condition type is going to be new. Okay, condition note. My condition note is normally going to be the same as the description, so I'm just going to do that just for the purposes of the demonstration now. Lead time to ship. When am I going to ship it? Is it in stock? Am I holding it? Where is it? So my lead time to ship may be 1 day. What's my shipping weight? So this is my weight in kilos. So let's say that it is 5 kilos, and the shipping weight unit of measure is going to be either grams or kilograms. So in my case, I would want kilograms. Thank you, spreadsheet. Okay. Now, Here, what I'm looking at, fulfillment center. So if I'm using Amazon, I could put Amazon in there. If I'm using my own, I could put my own in there as a default, whatever. I can put anything in there that I want. It may be a third party. We'll come on to those in a minute. So wherever I'm sending it from, that's giving me that bit of information. You can make this type of spreadsheet as detailed as you want or as short as you want. You don't actually need to say, I'm going to make this great big spreadsheet which has absolutely everything on it. You don't need to go that. You can make it as simple as you need it. At this stage, all you're looking to do is make sure that you have got the details that you need to send the item out. Package height. So let's say it's 12 centimeters. Package width may be 20 centimeters. And the package length, let's call it 30 centimeters. So unit of measure, so that's going to be centimeters. My package weight, so we're going to stick with 5 kilos. Okay, and we'll stick with kilos there. You have now got the dimensions of your item packaged. So bear in mind, this isn't the item dimensions that we're talking about here. This is the packaged dimensions. So please don't get the two confused. This is very, very important that we get the right package dimensions. So we've also got to add into this our packaging cost. So let's say our packaging cost is going to be £1.20. So that's going to be the box, the bubble wrap. How much is bubble wrap? Well, if you're buying bubble wrap by the meter from Staples or the post office or something like that, it's going to be very expensive. If you go to one of the other suppliers, and I'm going to give you a couple of suppliers in the next few minutes, if you want to go to the other suppliers, then obviously it's going to be cheaper. The cheapest bubble wrap that we worked with was about 8p a metre. When we're using good quality bubble wrap, we're looking at 11 to 14p a metre, and that was us buying it in bulk on the roll. So we would be looking at that. Boxes, again, wholesale boxes or bespoke boxes, you're probably going to have 3 or 4 different sizes of boxes so that you don't have a massive spread of 20 or 30 boxes to be bespoke. You're just going to have 4 or 5 general boxes which you will then fill with what they call void fill. Now, most people use void fill as in bubble wrap because that tends to be the cheapest. Some use those foam pellet type things. Other people use basically bags which have been inflated with air. It sort of depends on the product that you're selling as well. If you're selling something that is not really too breakable, then the airbag void fill is great. You can utilize that. Now, if you're going to do that, you've got to buy yourself a machine and you've got to buy yourself the void fill. So you've got to think, storage, where do I put it? How much is it going to cost me? If you want to go down the route of bubble wrap, then obviously if you're buying big rolls of bubble wrap, you've still got to store that. So you've got to have somewhere to store it and keep it. And obviously you're going to have delivery cost of getting the bubble wrap into you as well, perhaps. If you're using a fulfillment company, then you can look at the costings because you can get accurate costings from the fulfillment company, which we're going to come on to in a moment or two, so that you can take that forward. You've got to look at your packaging cost as an overall cost. You've then go into your shipping cost. So what is it going to cost me? So let's stay with UK, and let's say that's going to be £4.80 for that one, and that is going to be the cheapest. Now again, you can take this and you can go further along with that because that's big box. That is the cheapest one. You might also want to duplicate some of this, and you might want to offer a couple of alternatives. So let's say we duplicate that. So we'll bring that to that row there. And you may want to say, I'm going to offer a next day service as well. That service is going to be £9.80. Okay, so you're up to £11. Then you've got to decide how you're treating VAT. If you're not VAT registered, that might be your gross price. If you are VAT registered, that might be your net price. So then we might have to put a VAT column in here. So if we've got to do a VAT column, it's going to be whatever that one is, multiplied, of course, by 20%. Okay, I'm going to put the figures in for you instead because that's not doing the calculation. So if we've got VAT, we've got £6 times that by 20%. Okay, so that means you have got another £1.20 to add on to that one. And if you've got £11, and you multiply that by 20%, you've got £2.20 to add on to that one. Now then, I haven't finished yet. Okay? Now, obviously, if you're VAT registered, you will get that VAT back. If you're not VAT registered, it is a direct cost and you're going to have to live with it. But when you sell your item on Amazon or eBay, if you're offering free post, so this is the next column, and this is why I've left these blank so that this will make this a bit more memorable. If it is free post, that means you are going to be charged a final value fee on the sale of the item. So if you have got £7.20 now, okay, and let's say on eBay your final value fee is 14%. Yep, so we'll multiply that by 14%. That means eBay is going to take £1 and 1 pence. So if you're doing free post, that would be your final value fee. So I'll just put final val there so that you know where I'm coming from for that. Okay, and I haven't finished again yet. Because you're lumping it as free post, there is another cost. And this is the detail that most people miss. Because the other person that will take a cost from you is a company called PayPal. It'll be a processing fee. So we go back to £7.20 and let's multiply that by, let's assume you're on 2.8%. So that is another 20p. So let's go PayPal and let's just go 2.8%. Yep. And obviously, depending on where you are, depending on what package you're on, that price is going to vary and change. So here we've got eBay, so we've got £11. We'll multiply that by 14%, so that gives me £1.54. And let's say we have £11, multiply that by 2.8%, that gives me 31 pence. Okay, so you can see that where you possibly had at the beginning the thought that you may have just the cost of £6, so we've now got £7.20, £8.21, we've now got £8.41 as the postage. Okay, so here we've got 13.20, 14.74, you've got 15.05. So can you see your £11 postage, if you're not VAT registered and not claiming the VAT back, if you're doing free post, depending which postage option you're going for, and PayPal are taking that a little bit, you are up to a far higher price. So please be aware, and if you're trading on Amazon, do it the same way. Please be aware that free post attracts fees. If you've got a postage price on there on eBay, they don't take any fee on it. But if you're offering free post, they take a fee. Now, eBay will tell you that you do get some discount in your final value fees for items that you sell free post. but the discount does not reflect the amount of money they take from you. And that's only if you've got good quality feedback and you've got all of the other ticks in the box for top rated, power seller status, prime seller, that type of thing. eBay and PayPal want you to offer free post because that's great for the customers. But don't forget, they're also making a little bit of margin out of there as well, because it is something that you really, really, really do need to know and do need to watch. And I've got something coming in on my normal email there. Yeah, we'll get the table designed and we'll get that out to you as an attachment to an email so that you've got it, and we'll eventually get that up into the members area as well. So that's not a problem there. That's okay. That's coming on normal email. Thank you very much for that. I'll have that one out to you without any problem at all. In the grand scheme of things, and do make sure, as I said before, that when you're putting the data in here, that this is the packaged item dimensions, boxed, ready to go, not the actual item dimensions that you're dealing with. And obviously, if you're going up into the higher length, so if you've got 50, 60, 70 pounds worth of postage, then obviously you may have a lot more money going to eBay and PayPal. You may have a lot more packaging. It may be quite a bit higher, 6, 7 or 8 pounds worth. So you've got to put all of that in there. So what do you do when you're buying? When you're buying your products, what you want to do with your suppliers is ask them for samples of the packaging so that you know how it arrives with you. That way you can see a sample. Now if they send you a sample of an actual item, brilliant. If they send you a sample of the packaging that they use, brilliant. Because either way you can then decide what packaging you need to purchase to actually make sure that that product will arrive with the customer correctly. Now I had one particular company that we were going to do a deal with. This was just before Christmas, and I'd had the company rep in. They were importing some product for me from China, and we'd been talking to them about it, I don't know, July, August, something like that. And I said, right, the first thing I need is happy with the product, happy with the design. The first thing I need is what packaging are you bringing out of China for me? Because it's going to go to a fulfillment house. If it needs reworking, I need it reworked. Bearing in mind that these were breakable items. They were ceramic items and they were very, very breakable. So they needed to be in extremely good packaging inner cases, and the outer cases needed to be absolutely spot on. Plus I knew I would have some issues in bringing them into the country because they were coming in cases of 120 items per case, and we'd got something like about 34, 35 designs, and we were having multiple cases of those designs. It was a deal we were putting together purely for the Christmas market, and a specific deal targeted to a very specific and neat audience. Well, a month or so went by and I never received the sample packaging. So we got onto them and the reps said to me, yes, they're on the way from China, they'll be with us shortly, they'll be with us shortly. The long and the short of it is that that particular company never actually got me the physical packaging they were bringing in from China. Now my order stated very, very clearly that I was placing them the order subject to the packaging meeting my requirements and receiving samples of all of the packaging so that I could go to my cardboard box manufacturer with the design that I needed for the cardboard box, and also go to get the right type of void fill, so bubble wrap, air bag, things like that, so that I could get the right type of void fill to go in to make sure that my customers receive that item in one piece. Because the one thing I didn't want to do was end up with them having broken items. As I said, they were ceramic items, so they were breakable. Eventually, around about the end of October, the rep dropped off 3 samples for me. They hadn't got the packaging that they were sending over from China, and all they'd done is wrapped these items in bubble wrap and put them into an extremely flimsy white box. And that was he claimed that was my packaging that was coming in from China. Well, first of all, the packaging, as far as I'm concerned, was totally inadequate. Absolutely fine if you're buying it from a shop and you're walking over the shop doorway, you're picking it up off the shelf, you're taking it to the counter, and you're putting it in the car or taking it home. Absolutely fine. But for me, sending it through the post, totally inadequate. Therefore, I said, this isn't going to work. We need to adjust the pricing because I will need to get packaging redesigned for this, which they weren't too happy with. He said to me, well, can't we just work with that? So whilst the rep was here, I did what I call a drop test, and I do this with samples. I held it out at arm's length in the box that they'd brought it in, and I just let it go. It hit the floor and smashed. I think at that point the rep got the message. That order ended up being cancelled. They had about £40,000 worth of product that was on the sea that I refused to take because they couldn't fulfill their side of the bargain. But I needed to understand, because the people that made my cardboard boxes can't turn them around in a day. They would need at least a couple of weeks to make the volume and quantity. Then we've got to get those boxes over to my fulfillment house. Then my fulfillment house, when the boxes arrive, I've got to empty all of them out of the big boxes and repackage them into the really good solid boxes with the void fill. That means it's going to arrive with my customer undamaged and unbroken, and will actually survive a 1 meter drop test, or several of them in actual fact. So all of that had got to be done before I could actually satisfactorily say that those items were available to go. So they lost the order. The rep hasn't contacted me since, and I don't think I'll ever do business with them again unless they get their act together. However, I do have somebody else over in China, and if I ever want to go with those products, then I can go with them. And if anybody else wants to know about those products for the future and why they were a good Christmas market, drop me an email, let me know, and I will come back to you and I will tell you what they were, and I can give you a couple of ideas of how to look at sourcing them, especially for Christmas this year, and it is about the right time to do so. So there we go. So anyway, make sure you've got the packaging right at all stages. When you're starting out, you'll want to be able to get supplies. Now, I've obviously researched the UK market quite a lot, and I'm not going to say that this will always be the case, but this company, Zignig Wholesale, I've got to know them quite well over the years. They have never let me down. They have never caused me a problem. Their prices are good, and I would say that I don't think I've come across anybody who has got cheaper product in the market for the product that I wanted in the quantities I required. Not so much the boxes. I didn't buy the boxes from them, so I can't go on the boxes. I used to buy grey mail sacks from these guys. I say grey, can go any colour you like. And I used to pretty much stick with the grey. Obviously, that now everything's outsourced and going through fulfillment, I don't trade with them so much now, but I still highly recommend them. And obviously, you can get some big grey mail sacks there. And I would always order them in reasonable quantities. Now, the chap that owns this business, Martin, and his son, if you do want bigger quantities than they're offering here, you can call them up and you can ask them for a discount if you wish. But I used to order these great big mail sacks for some of the items we used to sell from them. 150, 57 pounds, so not the cheapest item in the world, but it used to be fantastic for delivering and getting my products out. If you're doing small stuff, so if you're doing CDs, DVDs, anything on a small basis, well, you can get 1,000 bags from them at £79 plus VAT, so you're £8 pence rather plus VAT to actually get product from them like that. So I used to buy all of this type of stuff from him. Bubble wrap you can get from him as well, and have no problem with bubble wrap. It's reasonably good stuff. and if you're doing volume, he can buy direct from the factory. So what I did with this particular company is we used to buy half an articulated lorry load at a time, and we used to get a massive discount. Corrugated card roll, that is really good if you have got products that you want to add a little bit of extra protection, but not too much, just to save scratching, that type of thing. And you can also get self-adhesive corrugated card, so that when you fold it over, it actually seals itself to itself. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Always bought my tape from this guy. I never found anybody that would do the tape any cheaper. In fact, we even used to sell it on to other people, would you believe? And yes, I used to buy it in boxes of 36. And we went on and tried his budget from his Scotch, and his budget was just as good. So a really good company here for you, Zignig Wholesale, UK company, extremely good as far as I'm concerned on the consumable side. And another company that I can say I've done well with, Defend a Pack, and they've got a good selection of boxes, cardboard tubes, and until I started having my own made for me by a particular box manufacturer, these would be the ones that I would buy most of my postal tubes from. And if you do need postal tubes, there is another one for you as well. This is another good guy, and I've dealt with him for a long time. He would make things for me to my own size and length, because we used to send some stuff out which we would need quite wide tubes for. We'd have others that we would need small, and also with Royal Mail, they have limits on how they measure tubes, and we used to have to get product within a specific measurement with Royal Mail. So Birmingham Mailing Cases is another good company for you if you're looking for bespoke made postal tubes, and you can take a reasonable amount of quantity. So there we go. Those are three good companies I would highly recommend working with: Birmingham Mailing Cases, Zignig Wholesale, and Defend a Pack. Obviously, there are others out there as well. What I'm also going to look at here for you is how we do the distribution. Now, the distribution, as far as I'm concerned, is key. If you're picking, packing, and boxing yourself, you need to know everything we've just talked about. If you're going to go fulfillment, then you need to know how the fulfillment company is going to do it for you. Now, where do you go for fulfillment? Now, the obvious place, if you're trading on eBay and Amazon, is to look at Amazon FBA. And I will say now that Amazon FBA from postal prices have got some of the best rates that you're going to get. There are some issues with Amazon. We'll come on to those in a minute. And you can send your eBay product to them, because Amazon will send for other third-party websites. Royal Mail have a business services department, and they have a warehousing solution. And they target this at retail shops, eBay traders, Amazon traders, etc. So obviously, when it goes out, it's going out either by Royal Mail or it's going out by Parcel Force. However, if you have your own courier company, so if you're using UK Mail, or you're using DPD, or you're using, dare I say, Yodel, or DHL, they will also put everything ready and dispatch everything through those. So it is a complete open house, although it is under the Royal Mail brand. So they will offer you everything. Their prices are bespoke. They've quoted for me before. I have not done business with them based on price, but I have only not done business with them based on price because they were slightly higher on the lines that we were looking at, whereas now if I was looking at some of my newer products where they're a higher valued product and there's more margin there, I would have no problem in going to these guys after seeing their operation and having their account managers visit me, etc. I would be more than happy to say have a good look at Royal Mail. Here we go, very, very simple diagram. Stock goes in, you sell it, however you sell it, you send them the orders, and they dispatch the orders. They pick, they pack, they dispatch. Each part of the operation here you get charged for. So the product going into the warehouse you get charged for. The pick, the pack, the dispatching you get charged for. So all of this here is a cost. So you need to know what those costs are to put them on a spreadsheet of some description so that you can deal with that. These hubs that these guys have got are absolutely excellent. They are well worth looking at and getting the information from them to actually move forward. So Royal Mail offer a massive operation, and it is a really good place to look and start. There are others, of course. You've got cloud fulfillment. Don't know much about them. I've heard of them. I've not heard any nasty stories about them. So they will charge you. You can start getting an idea now. So per SKU delivered, if you've got an item going in, they're going to charge you per SKU going in. Now then, if you have one SKU code for one item going in and it's 26 pallets on an articulated lorry, you're going to get charged £2. If you've got 26 pallets on an articulated lorry, but you've got 104 SKUs, you're going to get charged 104 times £2. So it is per SKU, not per item or per outer case. And that is very common in this industry. They will charge you an inbound cost per SKU to go in. Then you've got your per cubic meter per day, and in this company it is pallet space. So this is where, if you're going to look at outsourced fulfillment, you've got to decide how you're going to do your buying, because that is another cost. It's cost of warehousing. You've got to add that into your postage and packing, or you've got to add it into your other costs when you're looking at the cost per item that you're going to have. So if you go back to this particular spreadsheet, which some of you will have seen before, if I've got an item that's costing me £20 and I'm going to sell it for £60, now I might have a pick. So let's say the packer or the picking is going to cost me 60p. Let's say the packaging is going to cost me £1.80. Then I've obviously got my eBay fees, PayPal fees, VAT. Then let's say my postage on that is £5.99. Okay, let's say I got some returns on there as well. So you can see that we're starting to get a feel for how much it's going to actually cost. You can go to a more complicated sheet if you want to, and you can go consumables, the picking and packing, the storage cost, the packaging. So you can go in there, eBay and PayPal, you got your VAT. There are lots of places and lots of ways that you can make these work for you. Then you can put in your pricing per item. So you can turn spreadsheets like this to work for you in the way you need them to work. You just need to add the data in. This gives you a good idea of how they charge. Per order, including first SKU unit picked, £1.50 plus VAT. That's expensive. I'd be asking them for a bit of a discount on that. Oversized item, again, they will tell you what an oversized item is. In here, the shortest side is more than 26 centimeters, or its median side more than 34. So they will have all their own ideas on how they're going to do it, and here they're giving you some rack pricing. So this is their published pricing. You've got another one here, ILG, same scenario. They will provide you with fulfillment services from their warehouse. They are going to do the pick, the pack, the post, and with this company, they're not going to give you the pricing on the website. They're going to talk to you about it. They're going to want your business, and they're going to try and get you into some form of a contract. Now, one of that I will say is that you need to make sure when you're dealing with the fulfillment houses that you are covering your costs properly. If you get to a position where you have inadequate cash flow to pay these people, they have the right, after giving you 21 days, and most of them will have this in their contract. In fact, I don't think any of them won't. They have the right, after 21 days of giving you written notice, if you cannot pay their bill, to levy on the stock that you have and sell it to actually reclaim their money. So if you have a problem, or if you think you're going to have seasonal problems, or if you think you may have overbought on stock and you're going to be putting too much in there, pull it back, keep it away, hold on to it yourself, put it somewhere else, because you can lose your products to these guys quite easily. It's in the terms and conditions, it's perfectly legal, and it's the way they protect themselves, and quite rightly too. So it just means that they can seize all of the assets that they're storing and sell those assets after they've gone through this legal period of 21 days notice, so that they can actually put a lien on the stock and they can sell it. The other way to send parcels out is obviously using fulfillment by Amazon. Works on the same process. Basically, you send your products to Amazon, they will store them, they will charge you for storing them. If you're selling on Amazon, it's a really good way of going forward. If you're not selling on Amazon, you're selling on eBay or somewhere else, then you can still use Amazon to send things out, but their pricing will vary on that. So same scenario, you send all your product in, you put SKU codes on it, and you get it into them, they will deliver it. And the beauty of using Amazon fulfillment is their European distribution is great. So if you're going to sell products into Europe, Amazon is one place to look at very seriously. Their pricing strategy is quite complex. So if you're selling from other channels, multi-channel fulfillment, you have got different prices here. So you've got pick and pack per unit there, which will be different to here. So you've got 80p if you're selling it on Amazon, and you'd have £1.35 if you're not. So they're increasing, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So you've got weight and handling, you've got the cost of the box, you've got everything in here you need. And yes, sorry, but it is one of those complicated ones that you've got to sit down and you've got to look through it and you've got to compare and work out and decide where you go. But the benefits of using Amazon fulfillment, especially European and to a certain extent internationally, is that they are very fast at getting product out. So I'm not going to dwell on this too much, because this is something we can pick up with again if we need to. I just need you to know that it is there available for you. So let me just go back to the spreadsheet for a moment, because if you are going to use Amazon, so let's say you're going to use fulfillment and you've got eBay, you've got other, and you've got Amazon. Because Amazon will charge you more for selling from eBay or your other platform, if you have got 100 items, what you need to have a look at is how many am I going to sell on eBay, how many am I going to sell on Amazon, how many am I going to sell on my website. Now, to give you a rough idea for my purposes, I would sell 68 items out of 100 on Amazon. I would sell around about 24 to 26 on eBay, so let's leave it at 24, and I might sell 8 on another platform, and allowing for wastage, things have gone out and that type of thing. What I need to know now is if Amazon are going to charge me, for argument's sake, £8.41, and they put a fulfillment surcharge on of, let's just say, 0.80 pence, then that means for me to send my eBay ones, that is going to cost £9.21. Hopefully you're following this. Now I'm not jumping far too way ahead of the game, as it were. Now I've got to work out what is my mean average. So I would be looking and saying I've got £8.41 times 68, so 68 times £8.41. That gives me £572 in round figures, and I've got 32 at £9.21. So that's going to give me £330 in round figures. Okay, so now I have got 572 plus 330, and then if I divide that by 100, that gives me a mean average of £9.02. So what I might want to do, if those are my stats, I would be saying my parcel to be sent by Amazon, if I'm using Amazon as my fulfillment company for my eBay sales, the average cost per parcel would be £9.02 at this rate here. I would say my mean average is going to be £9.02 here, so that's what I may charge. I might add 10% to it, I might add 5% to it, I might add 6% to it, just to cover me for a margin of error. But at least I would know what my mean average price was, so I could set my eBay pricing slightly different to my Amazon pricing if I needed to, because then you can get your pricing policy right. You can have equality across your items, so then you could be selling your product on Amazon at £60 and you could be selling it on eBay at £60, both with free post, knowing that they would both be covered and roughly knowing your sales ratio against eBay, against Amazon, and against any other website. Hopefully you follow that bit of logic. If you don't, just watch the replay, go through it again. Now, with eBay, on your postage side of things, when you're listing an item, you have the opportunity to use their postage estimator. So their postage estimator, let's go back to parcel2go.com. So they are using data from a company like that that is putting their prices in. So let's say you have a small packet, and let's say it's going to be 800 grams. You're posting it within the UK. eBay give you this little tool that will tell you roughly what the price is going to be to send it, and it'll tell you what service you can be using. eBay also gives you a good guide. It is only a guide, and they will tell you that. So if I was looking at the pricing here, I'd be looking at that and I'd be saying, right, £3.90, I need to allow a small margin of error, so let's put it at £4.20. And you'll find that in eBay if you just go to the help pages and go postage estimator, or if you're in your listings putting the items on, you can find the postage estimator in here as well, so that you work out what it is. So this is where you would look and decide what you want to do. So free post, a little bit as we've done before. You might be offering other courier 3 to 5 days free post because it's your cheapest option, but you will now know that you have worked out the cost of your postage, your packing, your box, your eBay fee, your PayPal fee. You'll have worked out the whole lot to actually get it in there at that price. Select the dispatch time. If you're going to be 1 working day and you're sending something out on a first class service, so it's going to be delivered within 2 to 3 working days, that also helps you now in the search rankings. That is correct at the time we're talking. You can offer additional services. So when you do your free post, you can then offer it as well up to a next day delivery. So you can offer Royal Mail special delivery before 1 p.m. and you can just add in the price of whatever that is going to be. You also need to change anything when you're offering that service. Do 1-day dispatch, and also make sure that get it fast is ticked. This helps you in the search ranking, so we're now back into searches. If you're going to send things abroad, you can create an exclusion list for countries you don't want to send things to. So if you do have some countries you're not happy with and you don't want to send it to those countries, that is absolutely fine. You can go in and you can exclude. And you can do this in your postage settings, so you can make this a general rule on all of your products in eBay. So at the back end, you can do all of that in the postage settings that you're allowed to do. So you can say, I don't want it to go to Bermuda, I don't want it to go to Mexico, and let's say I don't want it to go to Papua New Guinea, for argument's sake. So you can be fairly precise on countries that you don't want to go to. What I would say is, if you're going to go down that route, do it at the very beginning and do it in the postage settings within your settings, so that you do it as a general rule across all of your items. Unless you're selling multiple items, so you're selling items that are going to be perhaps sold from the UK but not in the UK, you're selling them to other markets, then you might want to do it item by item. And also you can say, I'm not happy with Highlands and Islands, Scilly Isles, Northern Ireland, Scotland. What you can do, if you've got large parcels going out or larger items going out, you can actually, in your postage settings, put in a postage matrix surcharge so that they pay extra. Because Highlands and Islands, what you'd send it for in the UK at, for argument's sake, $9.99 might actually cost you $17.99. You need to get up to date with eBay's selling it fast and free. Basically means that you guarantee that that customer will have it within 3 days of making the purchase, and that you're offering it at free post. Hence, going back to the spreadsheet, you always need to make sure that on the spreadsheet you've done the numbers so that the item that you're sending out you're actually making money on. Now, the number of companies, the number of people that I come across that think, I go to the post office, I go online and I buy it, it's £6, that's brilliant, that's what I'll charge them. They forget to add on the VAT. They forget to add on the fact that there may be an eBay or PayPal cost. They forget those little bits there. They forget that they might have to buy some bubble wrap, and they also forget that they might have to buy another box. So when they've forgotten all of that and you add that up, you can see that in some cases it can be the difference between making a profit and making a loss. If your net return is as low as £3 on an item, you're just thinking, oh, I've got £6 for postage, that's great. You know, you've just lost money because you've just you've just lost nearly £3 in there of cost in incidentals you've forgotten about. And I see this quite often. If it was on that level of postage, then it's going to be higher again. You know, you've got £4 up to there. Forget about doing this calculation of mean average or anything like that. So you could have people losing anything up to £5 or £6 in postage cost purely because they forget or they don't put it in. They don't provide themselves with a figure point to actually say this is what we should be doing. So in eBay, it's really easy to put the data in. As you've seen, it can go on the data sheet. There's plenty of help in the customer service side of it. But having said that, if you don't know about it and you don't know it's there, you don't know about it. So you need to be looking at fast and free shipping on eBay to get up the search rankings. You need to be offering within 3-day delivery. You've got to then add in the costs from any of those suppliers that we've talked about tonight, the costs of actually getting the product to the customer from the point of view of, is it a box, is it a bag, is there some void fill, is it bubble wrap, is it those polystyrene chips, what is it that you're putting in? You then also need to look at the products you're buying. If you're buying breakable products, do a drop test. If you can buy and source product that is postage ready, guess what? You've got a far easier time of it when it comes to actually getting it out. You've got a far easier time of it when you get it to the fulfillment house if you're using fulfillment services, because all you've got to make sure is it's actually got the code on it you require to move it forward, and you can have that done in China as well if you're buying enough quantity. So if you're going to talk to direct importers about bringing product in, then do so on the basis that you are going to have it postage ready, and that will be a massive, massive help to you. So use eBay's postage estimator as a minimum, and obviously any of those other companies that I've spoken about tonight, use those to give you far more information. You've got to have a look and see who is doing what, whether it is the packaging and you're looking at these guys and others for your packaging, or whether it is the postal services that we've looked at here, the postage estimator that you're looking at here. You need to be looking at these types of guys to actually make sure you get it in there. But the biggest thing of all, folks, the real killer as far as I'm concerned, is making sure you get these costs right. Because this, in all fairness, if you don't get it right at this stage, this can mean the difference between profit and complete loss, especially if you think, and in my case, if you think where I'm doing one of these and I'm going to say, let's say I'm going to get higher than 2% returns. Let's say I'm using my ceramic products, which if anybody wants to know about, you can contact me separately. Let's say I was using those, I might be putting in a 12% return rate, because even though I can go to the greatest lengths in the world to make sure I've got the right boxes, it may just be that somebody somewhere decides to throw it over the fence from a great height. I've done a 1 meter drop test. Yodel might decide to give it a 2 or 3 meter drop test. So I've also got to protect myself against companies who will do deliveries and won't do them in the manner that we want. So there we are, folks. That's a fairly lengthy one tonight, and I look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. You know how to contact me if you want to. It's andrew@h2so.org, and I really do look forward to seeing you on the next one. Happy packing and posting.